Let me walk with you until I am no more. Let me know your heart and carry me.
Glory to God. I want to sincerely thank God for every minister of God globally. And today I want to be discussing with us briefly about issues that are creating some concerns in me among ministers of God. And my concerns are drawn from an advice that was given to me by one of the fathers, late fathers of faith, that was directly a father to me. And he told me something. I think it is in mid-90s. And he said, my son, if you are to gain territorial influence in ministry, you must learn how to ascend into the holy hills. And it really struck my heart. So I paid keen attention to what he was saying, and he mentioned several things. And I want to point one or two of those issues for this discussion today. And one of the issues he tried to draw out to advise me was, he said, for you to ascend the holy hills, according to the book of Psalms, it says, it is he that have clean hands and pure heart. And you see, I come to see that there is a lot of stagnancy in ministries, in the life of ministers, and I try to make some kind of research, make surveys, begin to discuss with ministers here and there, online, within my country, outside the country, and I find out some issues relating to what that my late father was advising me. One of them is about offenses. You see, I've come to discover that many of us ministers have so much offenses that we are carrying about. Either minister A have done one thing to you, you keep it in your heart. Minister B, minister C, things that have been done 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you harbor them. You see, offenses that you harbor will disable your ascension to the holy hills. And one of the strategies of the enemy is to make sure you are harboring offenses. You will always be talking about an issue that has happened between you and a man of God. You refuse to forgive. And you see, as long as you don't forgive and forget, it has become a weight on you that hinders your ascension. And as long as you cannot ascend, you will be on the earth realm. And you cannot be able to have a territorial influence as long as you are in this earth realm. So it is the pleasure of the enemy for you to be carrying offenses. 2, I came to also discover that ministers are having so much envy and jealousy over other ministers. It is not necessary. You see, the reason is that all of us have different assignments and calls. So the attainment and achievement of other ministers should not create an envy and jealousy. Because as long as we have different calls and assignments and ministry, we can't be the same. And let me tell you, all of us cannot be able to ascend to the holy hills at the same time. All of us cannot have the same level of influence. So it doesn't make sense that ministers of God are envying and jealousing one another. It's an error. You see, as long as you have jealousy, envy, it will become a weight that disables your ascension. And without ascending to the holy hills, you cannot have influence. And if you think with all those weights you are carrying, you are making influence, it's a matter of time. It will contaminate your influence. Oh. Thirdly, I've come to also discover that ministers of God will talk against each other. Some of us even we create false rumors against ourselves. Let me tell you, I once had a story about I think it's either Agin or Billy Graham. I'm not very sure of the persons now. That said he was in a meeting where people were discussing a lot of evil about other ministers of God. And when he watched closely, he saw that the most elderly minister of God was not saying anything. He was quiet. He was making no comment. And so when they closed, he went to meet him and asked, Papa, why were you not making any comment about all these discussions that people were having about other ministers? So the old minister of God told him, he said, if you want to live long as a minister of God, don't say anything evil against other ministers of God. So from there I came to discover that talking against, saying things, carrying false rumors about other ministers of God is a weight. It's a weight. As long as you are dwelling in that realm, it has become a weight that disables your ascension to the holy hill. Ministers of God, I want you to seriously have in mind the quickest way, the fastest way to bring influence to your territory is to ascend into the holy hills. And if you are to ascend into the holy hills, then you must be light. To be light, you must remove all these things that create a weight in your life. Now, the first thing, as I said, competition. You see, I have come to see that there is so much competition among ministers. You see, there is no room for competition. As long as you are competing with other ministers of God, you see, there is every tendency that you might create a shortcut. And shortcuts are always the means of terminating ministries. As long as you are trying to follow shortcuts, and that is why these days you see some people arrange miracles. There are some ministers of God, they do funny things. They begin to copy other ministers of God to do things that God did not command them. Competition. So today I am coming your way in a way of advice. If we are to gain a territorial influence in our ministry work, we must be light. We must be light. One, we must do away with jealousy and envy, competition. We must do away with malice. You see, everything that becomes a weight in you, it will disable you from ascending. I want to close here with my brief exhortation that ministers of God, if we are going to command a territorial influence, we must become light. And for us to become light, we must avoid offenses. We must avoid envy and jealousy. We must avoid competition in ministry. Thank you very much. We'll come your way again in another broadcast. God bless you and remain blessed.